And it's live. All right, so now we're into week 5 of the chase. We're about to start week 5 of the chase, starting on Sunday with the next race at Kansas. So now it's only down. Now we're only going to review 12 drivers, which is nice. Don't have to keep talking about Chris Buescher.
Yeah, there won't be much to talk about anyway.
I don't even have to talk about Tony Stewart either. He was starting. Even the Stewart talks were starting to annoy me because I kept looking like an idiot every time I would say, "Oh, this is one of his best tracks. Just wait for him to get a top 10 here."
Yeah.
It made me look like an idiot. But I've been looking like an idiot this entire way. I mean, I predicted Denny Hamlin to win last week, which, if it wasn't for the engine blowing up, that wouldn't have been a bad. That wouldn't.
Yeah. No, I mean, it wasn't a bad pick.
Yeah. All right. Well, all I can say is for anybody who crashed, or had an engine go out or an electrical issue. I think that was with Harvick. Just be thankful that all the other they should all be thankful the other drivers had issues as well.
Yeah, it's actually interesting that happened because now, since there are 5 drivers that are in a big deficit rather than just 4.
Yeah.
So,
but it means that. Yeah,
exactly. One of those drivers
has to get in.
Yeah, he's going to make it regardless. It's not like, they all have to win. Like, one of them can just make it in on points.
And even then, Kansas really isn't a place where drivers are known to have issues, but Dega is. So
I don't know. Kansas past 2 years.
Well,
started some curveballs.
Johnson crashed 2 years ago.
So did Junior. He cut a tire.
And I think Casey Kane crashed too, didn't he?
That
was remember 2014. I think all 4 Hendrick drivers made it through the first round. And then like 3 out of the 4 of them were out by the next round.
Yeah, that was true. They all got eliminated except Gordon.
And Gordon just barely made it by Talladega back in 20.
Yeah.
Like, he only beat Casey Kane out by 3 points.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, I'll just start off from the bottom. Hold on. Before we start, let me just make sure I know all the positions, and we'll go over the qualifying results as well. All right. So I'll start off with who's in 12th, which is Kevin Harvick. He is 8 points behind the cutoff line. So, I mean, like I said, 8. I mean, when you have, I think he had was it an engine failure or was it?
Yeah.
It was an engine.
Well, it was like an engine issue. I don't remember what it was exactly.
When you finished 38th at Charlotte, but you're still you're only 8 points behind the cutoff line.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, that was what I was saying earlier. It's just like they're actually really fortunate that Denny Hamlin blew an engine because now they all have actually a pretty well. I mean, like one of them stands to advance even with some probably pretty average finishes.
Yep.
So
that was good. That's something though, because I think Bowman also crashed at the same. I think Bowman had crashed earlier in the race before that.
Yeah, he cut a tire down.
Cut a tire, but it damaged his quarter panel to the point it's beyond repair.
Yeah.
Which is something like, wow, the front 2 starters crash out. That's something that was unexpected.
Yeah, I really didn't see Harvick having an issue. That was surprising.
Yep, it's something. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think he's up for a couple. I think he can run pretty well the next 2 races. I think as long as he finishes in the top 10 for both of them, I think he could at least get 8th.
Yeah.
I think that'll work out pretty well for him.
Oh, he's really strong in Kansas.
Yeah, he is. I think the last he does better at the spring race. I think the last 3 spring races he's finished second. One of them he almost won. That was one where Gordon won in 2014.
Yeah.
Just held him off at the end.
Yeah.
It was a good win, though. So Harvick's Kansas stats are actually one of the best. 21 starts. By the way, he's started at every single Kansas race that's ever been sanctioned by the NASCAR Sprint Cup. There's been 21 races and 21 Sprint Cup races at Kansas. 21 starts, one win, the 2013 fall race, 5 top 5s, 9 top 10s, average finish 10.8.
Yeah,
And
that's the thing that was weird about Harvick was like for the past couple of years he always seemed to have the fastest car at Kansas at every race, and then something always happened to like kind of rob him of a win. So I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't expect that to change this weekend. I'm sure they'll still be really quick, but I don't know.
in 11th, only 6 points behind the cutoff line, is Logano, who I think what he had cut a tire earlier and hit the wall. I think he was still on the lead lap when he when he went down again. Only it was enough to actually damage his suspension. But that was actually that was under caution during the Harvick issue. Harvick had I think he had coasted on the front stretch, and then on the back, and then coming off of turn 2 after the caution came out, Logano hit the wall for the second time.
I think Logano was the cause of the caution.
Really?
That time, yeah. But it wasn't Harvick, because Harvick was like on the apron,
but it's still
way out of the way. Yeah, they happened at the same time.
Yeah, which is amazing. Like, wow, Harvick and Logano, like two of the drivers that were considered to be the most dominant at Kansas.
Yeah,
they just happen to have really big misfortunes at the exact same time.
Yeah, I don't know. Logano's was probably more surprising because he cut a tire down relatively early in the run, I think, and then just had problems for the rest of the day. And they weren't I don't know. They were reasonably quick up until that point, but I didn't really expect to see them have a problem like that.
When it comes to Kansas, Logano's kind of mixed. I mean, he really struggled at Kansas through the early part of his career. He's only become successful at it recently, winning the last two fall races in 2014 and 2015. Those are his. He has 14 starts at Kansas, 2 wins, 5 top 5s, and they're all top 10, by the way. So 5 top 5s and 5 top 10s. Doesn't have a finish between 6th and 10th. But his average finish is 18.7 because early in his career he had a lot of finishes in the 30s.
Huh.
So it doesn't really tell you much. That's the thing with Logano. A lot of these Kansas stats, they don't really give us the full picture. If you want to compare Logano, at least for the last 3 years, he's been pretty dominant. Not so much in the spring race, but if I can actually check the
spring race last year, he was actually really fast, but he had so many. I think he had like 3 or 4 speeding penalties, so he had to keep starting at the back. But he finished, I think, 5th.
Yeah, he finished 5th, and he finished 4th in the 2014 spring race. He got 38th at the spring race this year. I think you were at that race, weren't you?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what happened. I think that was when Hamlin and Keselowski wrecked Larson. Joe Logano was behind it.
Yeah, he also wrecked. He had that one memorable wreck with Kyle Busch at the 2013 spring race. That was the one where he crashed right into his hood. Like, he had actually spun. I think Logano had spun. No, I'm sorry, Busch had spun. But he spun to the point where the back end came completely around, and then Logano came in and hit his hood, so it completely tore the front side of both cars up. I think there's a meme I've seen, I think on Google, where the meme says Joey Logano, expert candy crusher, because destroying the M&M's car front side. That was clever.
No.
So it's all dependent on him not actually having any mechanical issues, but stay out of trouble. Yeah, I think he can probably.
Well, not only that, but he's actually proven himself to be a pretty good restrictor plate racer, over the past couple of years. So I know Talladega is a wild card for everybody, but the big teams win Talladega way more often than not. So and considering like what last year he won half of the plate races.
I'm gonna have a little fun. I'm for next week. I'm totally gonna predict someone outside the chase to win. I don't know. I got a feeling that this time it's gonna be a little different. I'll probably pick David Reagan to win again.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know. 10th, Austin Dillon, 3 points behind the cutoff line. Kind of surprised. I mean, caught up in that wreck. Wasn't really even
kind of like started the wreck, but
yeah, started it because he got bumped by Truex. Didn't exactly get off to the best. I mean, Truex did take blame for that wreck, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Truex could have checked up just a little bit, and he didn't. But yeah, Austin
Dillon was only there on a 2-tire stop.
Yeah, he spun the tires pretty bad.
Not a good restart. But that was a smart decision at that time, just because he needed the track position because he was struggling throughout the race.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. His numbers at Kansas are okay. Only 5 starts, no wins or top 5s, but he has 2 top 10s. His average finish is 19.2, which doesn't really tell you much with only 5 starts.
Yeah.
I think he's only top 5. I think they were in the fall rate. I'd have to look up his top 10s. They're not, I mean, they're only like 7th and 8th place finishes.
Yeah. Well, he did qualify 12th. So I was actually pretty surprised at that. It does seem like they've gotten faster and faster as the weeks or as the season progresses.
Oh yeah.
All of a sudden, as far as the chase is concerned, before the chase they didn't really do that. But
yeah, I keep forgetting there was the qualifying results. Let me just go through the other drivers that I may have skipped over. So Logano starting 6th, which I think he would have been better starting in the top 5, but that's at least a pretty good indicator that he will probably be competitive for Sunday. Harvick starting 11th. And Dillon, surprisingly, 12th. I don't know. I don't think he's going to stay up too long. I don't expect him to finish in the top 15.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he wrecks. Kansas recently has been known for like quite a few wrecks. Well, the fall race anyway. It's kind of strange, but.
All right, next is really upset Chase Elliott. He led 103 laps at?
Yeah.
I think I have to look up his finishing position. Oh, I should probably go over his. He's starting 13th at Kansas, which I was kind of hoping for better. I think he probably could get into the top 10. I just don't think he's gonna get a top 5.
No, I think. Well, assuming he doesn't have problems, I think he could. I mean, he's been the fastest car in 1.5 miles recently. So we'll see. I can't remember where he finished in the spring race.
He finished 9th, that's his only run at Kansas. 1 start, 1 no wins or top 5. It's just top 10, 9th, 3. He's like Austin Dillon. He's 3 points out because he led laps, so he gets 1 bonus point. Yeah, Elliott. So it was Logano in 36th, Dillon in 32nd, Elliott in 33rd, but Elliott gets the 1 bonus point for leading 103 laps.
Yeah, that was unfortunate because I actually saw him winning Charlotte up until that happened.
Fuck Kyle Busch. That's all I'm gonna say. Fuck Kyle Busch.
Yeah. What else is new?
He also doesn't have too much experience on the. In the Xfinity race as well. He only 2 starts in Xfinity at Kansas. No wins or top 5s, but both those starts were top 10s. Average finish 8.5 there. So kind of just tells you maybe he's just early on. He seems like he's just a top 10 runner at Kansas, but hasn't proven himself yet to be a top 5 runner. I think he'll still be outside the top 8 after this race, but it won't be too far, and then he'll just set himself up at Talladega.
Yeah. I mean, Those 5 guys are going to be screwed if one of them wins. Kansas, really, because then the cutoff gap changes by like what, next to like 15 points or something.
Yep.
I mean, right now the cutoff's 8 points, you said, but
yeah, it's
above that it's another however many. I don't remember how
16
many.
points.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I'll get to that later. So after that comes Denny Hamlin, who, despite finishing 30th, and despite the fact that he was running in second, before his engine went out, he is somehow at the cutoff point, 3 points ahead of Chase Elliott and Austin Dillon. That's unbelievable when you really think about it.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. He starts 7th. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no. He starts 7th. Yeah, those Gibbs cars did amazing in the qualifying. Even who's like I said, he's a de facto teammate.
First, second, third, and fourth.
Yeah, like 5. Like out of those 5 drivers, they're all in the top 7 for qualifying. Hamlin's stats, Kansas are so and so. 16 starts, 1 win, the 2012 spring race, but only 3 top 5s and 4 top 10s. His average finish is 16.6.
Yeah, he's never made an impression on me at Kansas.
Just 1 good race in 2012, and that's it.
Yeah, I can't really honestly remember him running well other than that. But I don't know. He's one of those guys that seems to consistently run like 20th for about the first 80 or 90% of the race, and then somehow get into the top 10 or the top 5 towards the end. Like he kind of did that at Charlotte, and then he blew an engine.
I think assuming the top 7 drivers don't crash, I think Hamlin will be outside the top 8, and it'll be Logano taking that spot at Kansas. That's what I think.
Yeah, it could be.
Pretty reasonable prediction. All right, 7th, out to our surprise, Truex, only a 13th place finish at Charlotte, but because of the problems the other 5 guys had, he is 19 points ahead of the cutoff spot.
Yeah, I have to say I'm actually extremely, extremely surprised he ran that poorly.
He really deteriorated at the end.
Yeah. I mean, he led 392 laps in the spring, and then was like terrible in this race. I don't get that.
Well, at least he took out the competition by basically
wrecking.
by causing the big wreck.
Yeah,
taking Chase Elliott out. That's one clever way to do it.
Yeah, I don't think that's the last of like Chase guys wrecking each other.
Oh, it's not
either.
It's not.
Like Martinsville is probably going to have quite a bit of antics between them. Yeah.
Martinsville is like the revenge race now, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
So his numbers kind of similar to Hamlin's. 16 starts like Hamlin, no wins. He almost got a win in 2012. I think he dominated that race until Hamlin took it from him at the end. He has 4 top 5s and 4 top 10s. He's just like Logano, no finishes between 6th and 10th, and his average finish is 17.1. But like I said, it's I keep saying this every week. This is a different Martin Truex Jr. than we're used to for the last 5-6 years. So this is actually this is a Martin Truex Jr. who's competitive to the point where you can, essentially neglect all his previous stats.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was pretty much the fastest guy at Kansas in the spring. He had that uncontrolled tire, whatever it was, or loose wheel. Yeah. That's really what cost him, because he had that one otherwise. So
I don't know. I think he's in a pretty safe bubble at this point, just because he can afford one of those 5 guys to win and he'll be safe. Just because you're 19 points ahead.
I don't know. 19 points at Talladega though can disappear in a hurry.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Talladega, I would agree with you. But if he gets caught up in a wreck, he's automatically in the high 30s or 40th or something.
I think Denny Hamlin was like what, almost. I think he was 25 points ahead of the cutoff at Talladega.
Yeah, and then his roof flap came undone.
And then he got, yeah, and then he was involved in the crash at the end.
Yeah. That cracked me up that like his entire season was ruined because of a roof flap coming undone. That is like a perfect crystallization of like why this chase system is terrible. It's like something like that is negating your entire season.
Thanks, Brian France.
Yeah. And see, Truex starts fourth. I don't know if we said that. So.
Oh yeah, I think he starts fifth, doesn't he?
No,
it's fourth.
It's fourth.
Okay. And I think next is Carl Edwards. He's 20 points ahead of the cutoff, finished in 12th, just ahead of Truex. Kind of, I mean, again, just like we've been saying for a while, he doesn't have the speed. He's not even really a top 10 car, but he's lucky. He doesn't get caught up in trouble.
Yeah.
Which could launch him in, which is really the only thing. I think we said this last week. This is really the thing. This would be the thing that could launch him into the Elimination 8. Just avoid trouble, and that could be your doom.
That's actually probably the best strategy for this round, really. I mean,
but he would not be competitive. It'll be just like the last 2 years. He's not competitive when it gets to the Elimination 8 because he sucks at Martinsville. He's not competitive anymore at Texas, and he's not competitive anymore at Phoenix.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, he's like not competitive anywhere this season. I mean, he had 2 wins in a row and then really hasn't done anything.
But he used to dominate at Texas and Phoenix when he was at Roush.
Yeah. Yeah, they were much better. I mean, as an organization, they were way better then than they are now. But
yeah.
So he starts third.
He starts third, yeah, but he had a good qualifying run. But I don't think he's going to hold it.
No, I agree. They never do, really.
Yeah. So 18 starts, no wins. He almost got that win in 2008, which he throttled it right going into 3 on the final lap against Jimmy Johnson. Remember that?
Yeah, I think NASCAR needs more of that. That was actually pretty commendable.
That was clever, though. I mean, that was just, trying to play the video game version. The video game sometimes lets you throttle through the corner without braking. He had nothing to lose, so I commend him for a lot on that.
It would have been better if he wrecked Jimmy Johnson doing it, but oh well.
That would
have been pretty funny just to see him pull like a kamikaze bomb from like 20 cars back and then wreck both.
That probably could have won him the championship that year because I think he only lost to Johnson by about 60 points, which they ran under the old point system, so that could have at least made Homestead a lot more fun.
Yeah. For
2008. So he has 18 starts, no wins, 7 top 5s, 12 top 10s, average finish 10.6. Because he always, 2 out of every 3 of his starts end up in the top 10. It's impressive, but I'm going to make a call here. I don't think he's going to finish in the top 10 for Kansas. I think maybe he can get 11th, 12th, or 13th. I think top 15, but not top 10.
Yeah. I see him like having a problem for whatever reason. Like that team, I think that team has gotten like a little too lucky recently with just
their luck's about to run out.
They're just like making a lot of mistakes on pit road, but they don't really get penalized for it. But I don't know. Who knows?
All right, in 5th, and I'm really surprised about this one because I didn't even predict. My earliest prediction, I didn't even have him making it through the Challenger 16. Kurt Busch, who finished 8th at Charlotte. What's his starting position for
15th?
15. Yep, he doesn't have the speed still.
Yeah.
He's just. It's one thing for him to avoid trouble, but I think he is showing a little more speed than I think we expected. It's a mix of both. He had one good race at Loudon really propelled him to get into the contender 12, but he surprised us at Charlotte. I didn't expect him to get into the top 10.
Yeah, no, that's true. He actually was pretty consistently in the top 10, if I remember correctly.
Kansas, I don't know. Yeah, I don't expect much from him from Kansas. He's never been strong at Kansas. That's always been one of his weaker tracks.
Yeah.
He's like Harvick. I think there's only three of the drivers that we have who've raced at Kansas all 21 times, at least in all 21 Sprint Cup races to date. It's Harvick, Kurt Busch, and Matt Kenseth. Because Kansas opened in 2001. These are all the drivers who've been around since at least since then. So Bush's 21 starts at Kansas, no wins, only 2 top fives, and only 7 top tens. His average finish is 17.1. But when you're 24 points ahead of the cutoff line, he might. I mean, as long as he can maintain himself above 20, he can at least give himself a comfortable cushion for Talladega.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's something I forgot to mention. Like, one of the crazy things about having those 5 guys with issues is if, like more people have issues at Kansas, like people that are kind of lower in the points, then you could conceivably have like a cutoff line that almost like guarantees, like the top, I don't know, like 5 or 6 guys make it just on points, because they could have like a 30, nearly a 40-point lead going into Talladega, depending on what happens in Kansas.
That's all you need.
Yeah, which, I mean, is it like a guaranteed advance at that point? So
yeah,
which we haven't seen that before.
Yeah. 4th place, Brad Keselowski, who that was his first. I mean, he went through the first 3 races of the Challenger 16. He was the only driver to get into the top 5 for all 3 races. This time he finished 7th, so first time out of the top 5, but still pretty consistent because Charlotte's one of his weaker tracks at the Chase.
Yeah, he was faster than I thought he was going to be. Actually, no, I can't remember. I know he finished 7th, but I don't remember how he ran during the race. I think he might have snuck in there at the end.
How did he? Where did he qualify for Kansas?
He is 8th.
It's not too bad. Kind of just seems where he's at right now. A top 10 car.
Yeah, he's decent in Kansas. I think he's won once before.
He won, 2011 spring race, but that was a fuel efficiency race.
Yeah, but he usually has like very consistent top 10 speed every time they show up.
He does. So 13 starts, 1 win back in spring of 2011, 2 top 5s, and 7 top 10s. But he's not so much a top 5 car. That's his issue.
Yeah,
I think he'll get a top 5 this time around.
Well, how many points above the cutoff is he?
20, 25.
Yeah, so he could be one of those guys that just seals his advance, with a good race at Kansas. Doesn't even need to win it, depending on what kind of issues befall other people.
12 point. Oh, Dave mentioned his average finish 12.1.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll get into the guy just say fuck him, Kyle Busch. I'm still pissed off about that. What the hell was he? He could have been more charitable towards Chase Elliott. Really could have been.
The amazing thing about that is, though, like, he finished like 6th, didn't he? With like a replacement front fender. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that. Well, at a mile and a half, anyway. Never seen anybody do that. Like, I couldn't believe that they even stayed on the lead lap after that, and then they came down and like ran everyone down from 20th. So I was actually quite shocked.
I think we said it, like, Charlotte's one of Busch's weakest tracks, so for him to pull that kind of thing off.
Yeah, I mean, especially with like a partially wrecked car, he had the entire left front cut off of it at one point.
I know, and that's the thing. Like, Charlotte's just one of those tracks where aerodynamics matter. It's not like Martinsville where you can have a beat up car, or Bristol for that matter. I mean, like, short tracks, you don't have to have that advantage, but the mile and a halves, and especially at the restrictor plates, aerodynamics matter the whole way.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, that was, from a perspective of the team anyway, that was really impressive that they were able to. That's a good finish, like 6th place. And when you consider that he wrecked along the way, it's even more remarkable. But yeah, that was pretty stupid of him to wreck in the first place. I think it was avoidable. Let's see, he starts 2nd.
Gibbs, man. Fucking Gibbs.
And he is like what? He was 1/1000th off of the pole from Kansas.
And yeah, 27 points above the cutoff. 7 at Kansas, 17 starts, 1 win. That was
This year.
This year. Yep. And that's he doesn't do so well at Kansas. That's the thing. He's only got 3 top 5s and 5 top 10s. His average finish is 19.2 because he's got a long history of DNFs. A lot of mostly crashes, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he crashes quite a bit at Kansas. It was his worst track, according to him, and then he won it this year.
I think it's just been these last few years. I think his last 3 races at Kansas have been in the top 5. Fall races of 2014 and 2015 have been in the top 5. He didn't race at the spring race of 2015 because of his injury.
Yeah.
So
that team has focused a lot of their energy on Kansas specifically. It seems like, because ever since he started complaining about it, they ran much better.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it for this week. I'm gonna pick Kyle Busch for this week. Kansas sweep.
Yeah. I don't know. Are you
just gonna go with Truex again? Maybe this is Truex this time.
I don't know. I could definitely see Kevin Harvick doing it, and for whatever reason, I think Chase Elliott might also.
I think you're being way too charitable with Chase Elliott right now.
I don't know. It's just they've been really. I don't know about the fastest car in the chase, but they've been like the top 3 fastest, especially mile and a half. So I'm actually pretty optimistic for Sunday for him.
I said this I think I said this earlier. I don't even expect him to get into the top 8. I think he'll be within 5 points of the top 8. I think it's all going to come down to Talladega, the mercy of.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going at the mercy of Dega, man. That's a scary place to be in.
Yeah.
All right. So Matt Kenseth, who's on the pole for Kansas, which I don't know if I can't really say I'm surprised about that. I expect him to do pretty well. Maybe a top 3 at Kansas this time. He's gonna come in. He's definitely got something to prove this year after last year's disaster.
Yeah,
that was quite a race last year, though, especially towards the end. I knew it was going to be close to the finish, but I didn't expect Joey Logano to pull something like that.
Yeah, I don't really think anyone did. I was pretty shocked by that.
Yeah, I think they showed the NBC camera was on his back bumper cam.
Yeah,
and they showed the smoke. I'm like, what the hell? Oh. I don't remember my exact reaction, but I was pretty shocked.
Was it quintessential NASCAR?
Yeah.
Because that's what it should have been. Yeah. You're not a true NASCAR fan unless you thought that was quintessential.
Yeah. 21 starts at what was his? Oh, this is a great win. Start off for him. He's 31 points ahead of the cutoff because he got second at Charlotte. Really off the luck of everybody else getting screwed over. Chase Elliott
and Hamlin.
I mean, he finished 42nd at the Charlotte race at the fall Charlotte race in 2015. So for him to go from 42nd to second, it's quite a transition in 1 year.
Yep.
I mean, all he needs is a few other drivers to have bad days, and he can secure that 40. He can be 40 points ahead of the cutoff.
Yeah, that team, I get the suspicion that they're peaking right at the right time. It seems like they've been fast enough, as fast as it needed to be up until this point, and now they're kind of stepping it up a little bit.
Yeah. Technically, being above 40 points doesn't actually guarantee you it, because the guy in 9th place could win the race, who could win Talladega, who's in 9th place in the points could win Talladega, and then the guy in 2nd or the guy who's 40 points out of the cutoff could have a horrible day to the point where he's thrown into 8th place in the points, but because the guy in 9th place actually won the race, he gets in.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I mean, the cutoff line shifts.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't 100% guarantee you a spot at in the next round, but it makes it to the point where it's like 99% gonna happen.
Yeah. Oh, but it would be beautiful if that was like that 1% does happen. Like somebody's like Kyle Busch is like 40 points above the cutoff and he gets taken out of Talladega.
Yeah, like the worst happens. Like he crashes out early, finishes last, and then the guy who had crashed at both Charlotte and Kansas wins. So even though like Kyle Busch would still be ahead of him in points, the guy who wins at Talladega still gets in. That'd be beautiful, wouldn't it?
That would honestly be like one of the funniest moments of the season.
Oh, it would be. So Kansas 21 starts. Like I said, he's like Harvick and Busch. Only 3 drivers, I think, right now I think Tony Stewart's also the other one who's
I forgot about him.
Probably got all the Sprint Cup races at Kansas. 2 wins, 2012 fall race and 2013 spring race.
Has Ryan Newman started all of them?
I don't think Newman.
His rookie season was like 2002.
2002. I don't think he.
Yeah, okay, so all but one.
Yeah, and Johnson started in 2002 as well. Although he raced a few races in fall of 2001, but only 3 of them. And it wasn't at Kansas.
Yeah.
So 21 starts, 2 wins, 7 top 5s, 12 top 10s. Oof, 12. That means he has a 1-3 shot at finishing in the top 5. His average finish is 13.5 at Kansas. That's something. That's pretty good.
Wait, are you talking about Jimmy Johnson?
No, I'm talking about Matt Kenseth.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know.
13.5 average finish. As I said, like 1-3 races, 7 top 5s at Kansas in 21 starts, 1-3 shot at getting in the top 5.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Kenseth, just because just due to his great Charlotte finish, I think he's pretty secure. I would say he's got like a 98% shot at making it into the Elimination 8s.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, things going better for Kansas this year. And of course, the guy who's actually secured himself in with the win and seems like he's finally back, Jimmy Johnson. Not really. I mean, I think he led the most laps. I think he led 166 laps, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I don't remember the number, but yeah, it was quite a bit.
Yeah. He was really struggling up until the chase, just like with Chase Elliott. But it seems both these Hendrick cars showing that they have got the speed and they can match Gibbs.
Yep, I think so. I think now they're probably just judging from his qualifying. He's starting 21st.
I don't think he cares. I mean, I don't think.
Yeah, no, I think they're just experimenting. I think they're
going to experiment. Yeah, I don't.
They have no reason to really exert themselves.
I do not expect. Yeah, I do not expect Johnson to run up front for any of the next 2 races.
I don't know. I'm sure he will at Talladega, just because he has the chance of keeping somebody else out.
Oh yeah, block guys out, maybe bump a little bit, and if you take a guy out. Maybe if you take Kyle Busch out, no one would.
Yeah, I know. You could pull a Kevin Harvick and just like wreck the entire field.
Yep.
Deliberately. Just.
Yeah, because again, I assume that I think Johnson's one of the. How do I put it this way? I think in terms of ethics, Johnson's one of the better drivers. I don't see him like a Kevin Harvick or a Kyle Busch. I don't see him doing that kind of shit. But you never know.
I agree.
That's the problem I have with the system. Like Brian France has created a system that enables that kind of behavior, though.
Yeah, it encourages it, really.
Yeah.
I just thought like it would be supremely ironic if Kevin Harvick gets knocked out at Talladega by like someone intentionally like causing a wreck or something, and he's just like,
we'll have fun. Next week's gonna be fun with the Talladega preview.
Yeah.
Can't wait. But Johnson, I expect him for a top 10, not a top 5, because I expect him to play it more conservatively. But, he has the best Kansas stats out of anybody. 20 starts, 3 wins. I think it's fall races of 2008 and 2011 and the spring race of 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Spring race of 2015. That's where they had the SpongeBob sponsorships, right? And the SpongeBob walls. What the fuck was that shit? I know you want to make it a kids. You want to get the kids involved, but that was overdoing it. That was way overdoing it.
Yeah, it was a bit dumb.
Eight top fives. So what that means, I was already going off about Kenseth having a 1 in 3 shot of getting in the top 5. Johnson's got a 40% shot.
Yep.
He's 8 for 20, and here's the real number: 16 top 10s, 16 for 20 in terms of getting a top 10 at Kansas. 80% shot getting a top 10.
That is quite impressive.
9.2 average finish. Not only, so it's hard to get an average finish inside an average finish lower than 10. It's one of his best tracks, needless to say. I think Johnson and Gordon tie the record for most wins at Kansas for the Sprint Cup.
Yeah, they both had 3.
That's why I really don't want to see Johnson win. I like Gordon. I like Gordon's records where they're at. Share or hold it to himself. I don't care. I don't want to see some other asshole hold it.
I don't really care about Kansas, but I want to see Gordon keep the record at the Brickyard
and Martinsville. 9 wins at Martinsville. Well, he doesn't hold the record at Martinsville.
Yeah, that's the thing, Richard Petty probably does.
And Darrell Waltrip. But out of the current drivers, Johnson has 8 wins at Martinsville. Gordon has 9. So I don't want to see Johnson, because both those drivers battled fiercely at Martinsville. They were pretty hard rivals at Martinsville.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of nice to know that Gordon's on top in terms of wins. Wouldn't want to see Johnson get 2 more at Martinsville.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think Johnson. I mean, now that Johnson's in the Elimination 8, you have to think he's in a good position to actually qualify for the Championship 4, especially when you've won the Fall Texas race the last 4 times.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's kind of an astounding.
I know,
he's unbelievably good at that race.
Yeah, he kicks ass at. He's been struggling a little bit at Martinsville over the last few years, but he still runs competitively at Martinsville, and he can still run pretty competitively at Phoenix. But the thing is, he sucks at Homestead. That's what makes this fun. It's like even if, and I do expect him to get into the Championship 4 now. I don't expect him to have a good day at Homestead. I just don't even. I'd be more surprised if he gets into the top 10 at Homestead, honestly.
Yeah, well, I know he's never really been good there, but
he's never won there. He doesn't. I think he did get a 2nd place finish in 2010. I think that's his best finish at Homestead. But then again, I'm pretty sure Brian France would, I mean, what might let Chad Knaus get away with a few tricks.
Yeah, I know. Bring in the 2014 rules package by accident. Extra 100 horsepower and 500 pounds of downforce.
Possible. It's always possible. All right. So I think that's it. I mean, I don't expect too much action from Kansas, but it was fun to go over Charlotte just because that was probably the most exciting chase race up until this point.
Yeah. I actually want to see every chase driver wreck at Kansas, but probably not going to happen.
I'd like to see him all wreck at Dega.
Yeah, that too. Actually, pretty much every race from here on out, I want to see all of them wreck every time.
Just to piss off Brian France, right?
Yeah. I already told you, but my wet dream of a Final Four race would be just all 4 contenders wreck on lap 1, and it's just a battle to get out of the garage first. That would be such a joke.
I know it's a family company, but that will surely get him. That will certainly get him to step down.
Yeah. Oh man, I'd love that.
Like I said, we keep saying this. It's hard to imagine. It's hard to believe that Brian France is Bill France Jr.'s son. It's really hard to believe that.
Yeah.
It's hard to convince myself of that anymore.
I agree.
And with that being said, I think it's nice. It's a little shorter now. They'll get even shorter in the next couple weeks.
Yep.
And I'm going to end the broadcast. All right.